How's it going, guys? Thanks for visiting my channel. Today I'm reviewing a brand new release from Godox. This is a focusing light. This is the Godox S60, in which I actually have reviewed the S30 in the past. To be honest with you, I didn't use the light a whole lot, but this one here has a lot more power, a lot more punch, and a lot less restrictions regarding power. So before I start anything here, I'm going to tell you up front everything that I plan to show you in this video here. I'm showing the entire manual of this light, every single accessory in its full length, whatever it is they want to see, it's here. So stick around, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. This thing can actually punch a lot of light, especially if you want to concentrate the beam. So the light the way it is already an awesome tool, but it comes with a bunch of accessories here. But keep in mind that all the other accessories that I'm showing you guys here, this is actually a separate and optional purchases, including the Godox RCA6 remote control, which I definitely recommend. And using this light here, since it is not an RGB light or anything complicated, it's so easy, you just power it on and power it off and control the intensity here, and this is all you need. If you're not subscribed to this channel, is 100% information, straight to the point. Having a video this long here is gonna let you know everything about the light instead of quickly showing one thing here and one thing there. And a quick disclaimer here, Godox sent me this light for me to test it out, and this video is not sponsored by Godox, and I'm not paid to say anything here. All my opinions are my own, but I do want to thank Godox for sending me this light here because my channel always needs content, and I'm usually now the first channel to actually review most of the products, and I feel very humble and very special for having this privilege here. It looks like I'm doing something right, and thank you also for enjoying the content that I provide, because I can see in the comments all the love that you guys give me in the comment. But if you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section, because I respond to everything that I see there. This light is locked at 5600 degrees Kelvin, even though this remote can actually control bicolor light. So again, pretty much all you need to do is to power it on, power it off, and the actual brightness levels here. If you want to control this light using an app, of course, Godox lets you control by downloading the Godox Lite app. But again, keep in mind that this light can only be controlled by the power on and off, and also the light intensity, brightness wise. Everything else that appears in the app, such as the magenta and green corrections, all this stuff is going to be there, but it's not going to be responding with this light here because this is a daylight only. But the convenience is here. You can control via the remote or the Godox Lite app. For those of you guys who love aluminum, don't worry, this light is entirely made of aluminum. You're not going to see a single piece of plastic here. The actual front element here is metal. The top, bottom, sides, the back of the light, including the barn doors, everything is made of metal, and of course including the yoke here. Also, the spigot mount here, for some reason, if you need to mount this light in a horizontal position, all you have to do is to lay the light this way here, and it will do it for you. The yoke here, you can actually adjust the light by tilting up and down, and if this light ever becomes loose, they provide a tool which you can actually adjust again the tension of the yoke here, so you're gonna find a lot of resistance here. And this light here also comes with a 3/8 thread. I'm not sure what that's for, what component you're gonna be installing here, a magic arm. I don't think it is for installing a microphone here, right? So, but whatever it is that you wanna install here that has a 3/8 thread, you have this thread right here. Now I'm gonna start with the barn door here. This barn door is very well made, and as you can see, you can actually even adjust the side blades here to something wider if you want, but I usually keep it like this because if I want to cut light like this, and then you can just shape the barn door this way here. But if you want to open this up to a wider thing, you can do it by doing this way here. And the barn doors here, as you can see, features a gel holder, so you can actually install your own gels, or you can actually purchase from Godox the two types of gels they have available. One is for color correction and the other one is for effects. Now usually lights at this price here, usually the barn doors doesn't let you cut precisely or shape the light precisely, but this light here ranges from 6 degrees to 55 degrees, in which means for you to actually create shape with this light the way it is without any accessories or anything mounted in front of this light, only using the barn doors, all you have to do is to back the light out on the focusing to set your flood type to the 55 degrees, and then you can actually start shaping light the way you want here. You can also turn the barn doors any direction that you want. One thing that I don't like about this barn doors here compared to the Godox S30 is because the S30 you can easily drop there right here, and this one here has some kind of a resistance. Maybe the material here, maybe they have too many paint coatings, or somehow the actual material here, the aluminum, is probably a ½ millimeter too big or too thick. So I'm actually gonna remove this. It's not a big deal, it's not that hard to put in here, but there is some resistance here, so I'm actually gonna remove this here. Okay, so it's a lot of resistance, but it's not a big deal, but just so you know. And then I'm gonna actually attempt to put this back here. There you go. It's not that difficult, but there is some resistance here. So when you actually lock it here with the top little knob here, right? So when you actually turn the barn door, look what happens. This way, this thing wants to open, to eject. I'm actually seeing this thing here actually opening, which is not a good thing. Now, when you rotate to the other side, actually, it's the same thing is happening here. So to actually rotate this barn door, see, you will actually have to use both hands. You gotta press it down and turn. Otherwise, this thing here is gonna want to lift. So this is something that has to be addressed because I can see a few complaints people are gonna have with these barn doors here. It's not a big deal to remove, it's very easy. I mean, not so easy, but it comes off like this. Now let me show you the performance of this barn door here. Here's a full blast, the whole thing open. Watch what happens when you actually control this light right here. So as you can see, top to bottom, you can actually control to whatever you want, just using the barn door right here. And of course, you can actually rotate to whatever shape that you like. You can also make this type of shape right here. The biggest advantage of this light here, for only being a 60-watt light, you can actually throw a lot of light, for example, in the background if you want to, especially if you want to go all the way down to the 6 degrees for that very narrow light, which can actually reach very far away distances. With that said, even if you have two Godox VL200s right here with a softbox, this light can still compete with the brightest here if you want to concentrate it to the 6 degrees shining some light in the background there. That's without attaching any hardware here. The way it is here, you can actually see the light being projected on the screen there very well, along with the two 200-watt lights that you have here. So this is actually a very strong beam thanks to its focusing system here. So to adjust the beam here right now, I'm at 55 degrees, and the back of the light has a very simplistic knob, which there is a lot of resistance here. There's nothing flimsy, nothing like, you know, loose here. This knob is actually very tight. So you gotta really grip on this knob here. And this is actually all the way to the 6 degrees there. And as you can see, you can throw a lot of light. Oh, hold on a second. I actually forgot to mention, this is at 1%. That's how much damage it's causing on the wall right there. 100% here. That's gonna be nasty in a good way. There you go, 100%. Now let me dial back to this 55 degrees here. And as you can see, the background is completely blown out, which is what you want because all you have to do is to dim the light. But this is at 55 degrees here, and that is a lot of light. Beautiful. And again, this is a 60-watt little light. Also compared to the S30, the cables here, they are a lot more robust. The connections here, the gauge of the cables, this whole thing is like a completely different light between the two. More power, even though this is actually only twice as powerful, but it looks like 4 times more powerful. The S60 I'm gonna be using a whole lot because it does exactly what I want. And the price is unbelievably affordable. And I want to talk about the fan noise here, something very briefly. This is not going to take long because the fan is on. I have a condenser microphone here, very directional. It's pointing at me at this light here, right? This light is exactly 2 feet or less away from this microphone. I gotta tell you, leave the fan on to keep the light cool because you cannot hear a thing. Can you hear anything here? If you can, I mean, even if you interview a fly, the fly is going to be louder than this fan. You cannot hear. I'm actually going to be placing this fan actually, I can touch the microphone here. This is the actual fan noise. That's not a problem. This light allows you to silence the fan completely, but I'm not going to because there's no way this microphone can actually pick that up. There's no way. But if you want, you can actually silence the fan. However, you're gonna lose 50% of the intensity, which is extremely bright. So this is actually, again, at 1%. To give an idea about the 60 watts, see what this can do, at 1%, this is my monitor here. This is what the zebras are doing. As you can see, it's plenty of overexposure. This ballast here, they come with this little stringy thing here. They can actually attach on either here or on the stands knob here. But what happens is when you actually raise the light here, the ballast is gonna also raise. And I don't like the fact that it kind of dangles all over the place, especially if you don't want to scratch your ballast or your V-mount battery, because it becomes a heavier weight here when you actually have a big V-mount battery attached here. So I'd really like to see them actually designing ways to secure the ballast, just like Apple II makes on the bigger lights that they have. Of course, it's going to cost a couple bucks more for these lights here, but they should seriously consider mounting the ballast. I usually don't like lights that have a ballast, especially for that reason, because I don't like things dangling all over the place. On a Godox VL200, I actually create my own way to actually secure the ballast through the V-mount system. It just clicks over there and it stays here. So as you can see, this is what my setup looks like here. I put a Velcro here to secure the other Velcro, and a sponge here in the back, which the screen does not touch the light stand, so nothing gets scratched over here. And the advantage to that is because this doesn't move anywhere. It's very secure and with the V-mount battery attached. So in this case here, I'm actually rising the first part of the stand here, and as you can see, it does not interfere with the ballast. I'm actually rising now the second part of the light stand, and the ballast still does not interfere with this movement. So here's my design here. Everything is secure with just a couple of Velcros here, and as you can see, the sponge is right there. And I can still see the display, but in this case here, I'm actually running with a V-mount battery. So if you're running on AC mode, you just put the ballast facing front, and then the panel is right here. You can freely control your ballast. This particular situation here is only when you're actually using a V-mount battery, but I really think it's a lot better than actually utilizing the little string here to actually have this thing dangling on one of the knobs here. Plus, the ballast is going to be in the way here when you actually rise the stand. Now, one thing that I'm really impressed again is with the both cables, the one that powers the ballast and the other one that feeds power to the Lite here. The wires, they are very nice, very soft, very easy to manage, especially when you're actually putting the Lite away. It's very nice. It comes with a very nice Godox little yellow Velcro here. But the actual connections here, they are very robust. Actually feels very high-end when you actually plug this in here. So it's a complete different thing with the Godox S30 or every other light that I've seen with this price here. Now here's something interesting that's worth mentioning. I don't think any other YouTuber is going to even touch the subject here because they probably didn't even think about it. But between the V-mount terminals here, while you are operating this ballast via AC, because this light has only a single switch, which you press right here, right? So most light panels, they have a dual switch panel. It will separate the current from hitting the terminals here while you have a V-mount battery plugged in here. So using my multimeter here, I wanted to make sure there is no current flowing to the negative and positive terminals of the V-mount batteries, because I don't want any current here supplying power to the V-mount batteries, because this has nothing to do with charging the battery, whatever current is flowing here, right? Because when you put a V-mount here, this is supposed to be out, not in, right? That's why I wanted to make that test to make sure, because according to the circuitry of this light here, as soon as it senses the AC, it's gonna immediately cut any electrical signals from the V-mount from going to the ballast for safety, so you don't burn your battery here. So this is absolutely freaking awesome. So your V-mount is protected here. As soon as you plug it in the outlet, it cuts off supply completely from the V-mount battery. However, when you remove the V-mount battery out of here, the light actually dies. So make sure you turn this off before you do that. And here's where the fun begins. I have the actual projection unit here. Again, this is an optional accessory, and it comes included with the 85mm lens f2.8, and it also comes with the very nice bag. It's almost like a pouch kind of bag here, and it also comes with the actual plastic, because everything comes with the plastic, right? But I highly recommend that you actually keep the plastic when you actually store this in the case, in which, by the way, this light comes with no case. But I also found a Pelican looking case at the Harbor Freight store, very cheap, less than $50, I would say $60 or $40, I don't know, but it's actually very cheap. And if you are interested in this case, which you have to freeze the image, because the only way to fit this light and all the accessories on that particular Pelican size case from the Harbor Freight store, just position the lights there and cut the foam exactly how I did it. You'll be able to fit everything. Because in this case, my Godox S30 used to live there. Now with this light here, not everything fits right, because the cables are a lot larger, a lot thicker, so I had to figure out another way to actually pack this up. I was thinking that I wouldn't be able to actually house the cables there, but again, everything fits there perfectly. Plus, on top of that, I have the other two lenses there. That's why it didn't fit right. Now, when they ship this unit here, all the lenses, all the glasses here, they're thoroughly clean, no dust, no anything. But again, you have to occasionally blast some air here, because sometimes you're gonna have some spots on the wall there when you actually focus the light. So here's what I use, which is a lot better than those air cans, which they also kind of cost expensive when you buy a bunch of them. And this has no danger of frozen nitrogen liquid or whatever it is that they use there. So this is only air, and to clean the lens. So once that's clean, just insert the thing here. It's that easy. There's a latch on the top there. Once this is actually locked, it's not going anywhere. And this is a lot sturdier than the S30. The S30, the thing shakes all over the place. This one here has almost no shake, so it's perfectly safe here. It's not going anywhere. Alright, here are all the tiny little accessories that you need to buy for this light, and again, these are all separate purchases, but if you're actually getting this here, you must absolutely have all these accessories here. So inside this pouch here, as far as I remember, the only thing that comes included inside this pouch here are the Scrims right here, which I'm going to be talking about that in a second. But as you can see, every other accessory can fit here. They come with the original cardboard boxes, tiny little box like this, but they can all fit here. But when you actually fill this up so busy inside here, you barely grip the Velcro here, but it closes, right? So no big deal. So the first item I'm gonna show you here, these are called Scrims, and these are my ARRI Scrims. This belongs to the Fresnel halogen hot lights, in which they are the same exact thing right here. And these are meant to be installed before you attach the little projection attachment, whatever the thing is here. I already seen YouTubers doing this. This is not a gobo for effects or anything like that, because it's hilarious when I see people doing this. These are meant only to attenuate or dim the light. You just put them right here, and that's pretty much it. But you can certainly put this in here, but this is not actually what it's meant for, even though you can actually focus on here. So here's the first one that you find in the Godox kit right here. These are called single Scrims. Same exact thing this one is. It's the same type of mesh size. Think of a kitchen strainer when you actually try to get food through here. The thinner the mesh, the less food is gonna actually come out the other side of this thing here. This is exactly what this does with light. Second one here is called a double Scrim. As you can see here, they are different. This one here is a little bit busier than this one here. So it's gonna filter this amount of light, and this one here is gonna double the amount of light being filtered or dimmed. So right now I have the ballast set to 30%, and I'm gonna be using the single Scrim right here, and watch the intensity of the light drop. Now I'm gonna put the double Scrim right here. The intensity drops even more. You can also put both in at the same time, and then you see my green right here, pretty much everything. So when you remove, it goes back to the full intensity right here. Now here's one thing starts to get a little weird. As you can see, this is a half a thing here, and the same thing with this here. So this is a half Scrim, and this is a half double Scrim. So the purpose of this here, did you notice sometimes when you actually have a subject that's too close to this light, not exactly in relation to this light here, any light, right? It can be a softbox, can be anything. So when I actually flag the softbox halfway here, so the subject that's actually closer to this light source here is going to be obviously hotter than the other person sitting about 3, 4, 5 feet away from this light source right here, or this one here, right? So what we want to do is provide a half a more diffuser on a softbox, so it actually attenuates the half of the light here, in which my head is right here, and the other light is going to actually reach the subject, or try to do that as evenly as possible. And this is exactly what this does. So right now I'm going to be putting this upside down here, and this is the single Scrim. Now you notice that the bottom of the screen is slightly less powerful than the top one. I'm actually going to put both together, and as you can see, you see more the green now on the bottom because you have the thing half attenuated. So the other side here shows 100% the light, and the other bottom shows this much. Let me rotate this so you can actually see the difference. Now I'm going to put it up. Now the top is the green light, and the bottom is the full intensity of this light. And then when we remove, everything is back to normal. And here I have the other last one here. This is actually a combination of both. Nothing on top, a single Scrim right here, and a double Scrim on the bottom. So when you install this here, it looks like that. You can tell the difference right there. Let me put it exactly in the middle. So this is what these are for. And this one here is one of the coolest accessories they can actually buy for this light here. This makes the circle smaller. This is an actual iris. So it goes like this here, as you can see. So to put this away, never store it this way here, because these blades, they are so sensitive. So make sure you put them away in this position so nothing gets damaged here. So when you put it back in the case here, no problem, but notice that sometimes it can open a little bit, so make sure this is all the way there, and then you actually tuck it in, and be careful, confirm this is actually closed before you actually wrap this up. Now to make this work, obviously you're going to need to attach this projection element here. Now to install this here, you're going to see on top of this projection screen attachment here, a little spring-loaded thing that you can actually put your finger right here, open it up, and then you can actually slide this down here. But to avoid excessive wear and tear, I would highly recommend that you first install this over here on top, and then you help with the fingers to finish sliding, and then you're going to reduce the wear and tear. Otherwise it's going to scratch a lot, and you can see a little bit of the anodized aluminum chipping off. Now just in case your circle doesn't get small enough, all you have to do is to use the lever on top here and slide it all the way to this side here, and then your circle is going to get really tiny like this. And as you can see, it's an extremely cool tool. You can have a little circle that little. And next here are the little 4 shutters that you can actually get to shape light. As you can see, you can easily do that. So you can have a ridiculous amount of lighting control like this here, and you can also rotate the thing. And then when we start to remove this, you can go wider or create any types of shapes that you want here, as long as you align this properly. And the next one here is the Gobo holder. To fit in a bag there, you have to remove this little handle thing here. All you gotta do is make sure you don't lose it and screw it back here. And it also has the 2 little spaces for you to put your fingers here, but you don't necessarily need to do this. I can actually screw that off with my hands like this, my fingers, and it's out. All I have to do is to drop the Gobo right here and make sure the thing with the finger space is facing up. And then you quickly screw this in here and it's ready to drop in there, which is the same location as I showed you where you put the IRs at. It's right here. So here's the 85mm. It looks like this, and that's the pattern that comes with the Godox S30, in which I believe you can actually buy these Gobos as an extra accessory. But the ones that come with the S60, these are more useful because it's a bunch of window-shaped little Gobos, in which is a lot more useful. The other one, it comes with a little bit silly pattern, sometimes some fire stuff, but the S60 Gobos are a lot better. But one of the coolest ones from the S30 is this particular pattern here. Now to change the lens, you simply unscrew this part on the bottom here, because one knob is going to hold the lens, the other one holds the whole barrel here, in which this whole thing comes off. Another thing that you can do, you don't necessarily have to keep the image focused all the time, because it also looks nice when you actually defocus a little bit. Especially when you put the light on the angle to distort the image a little bit. So the more you do this here, the more distorted the image will get, instead of just having the whole thing in focus right there. So to install the gel here, you just lift this little lever here between the light and the projection attachment system here, and you're gonna drop the gel right in between the light, right? So here's your purple dye right there. And you can also do half if you want, like this. And you can also rotate it. You can also, of course, defocus the thing, which sometimes it looks better than completely in focus. Now I'm gonna put the light on an angle, see what happens. So now we can actually have this distorter like this. Alright, so this light here is actually 10-12 feet away from that projection screen right there, and this is what you see with the 85mm f2.8. And of course, if we want to back the light further away, the image is going to get bigger. Now, if for some reason you cannot move the light, Godox also makes 2 additional lenses in which they are all separate purchases. So the 2 more lenses that Godox makes here. This is the Godox 63mm f2.4, which they all come with this very nice little EVA semi-hard cases right here with the Godox logo and all. So everything is very well protected. And it also comes with this protective rubber caps as well. So to install this lens here, you do not need this barrel here. This belongs to the 85mm. And of course, you're going to be mounting with this facing out, and this is the part that faces in. And as you can see here, I put the light about 12 feet away, but also notice that not everything in focus because the light is not straight to the wall or the background there. So the light is slightly on an angle about 45 degrees. So some things are going to be in focus and some things are not going to be in focus, in which I prefer. I don't like the whole thing in focus, so you can actually create more artistic things, letting things be slightly out of focus here or there. If I place this light all the way in the back there, everything is going to be in focus 100%. Again, the light is on the side about 45 degrees, so the image looks like that. Some areas in focus, some other areas are not in focus. Now here's your full CTO gel right here. Now we have a tungsten light. Godox lights on.
Okay.
There you go. That's a feature it has that you don't know. And you remove it, and Godox lights off.
Okay.
Now here's the 150mm f2.2, also comes with the same awesome EVA semi-hard case here, and this lens is quite large. Another thing to keep in mind here, every single one of these lenses here come with this little groove here, so make sure you actually align this groove with the actual screw here, otherwise you're going to be unnecessarily scratching your lens here. So with this lens here, the square can make it very small, and this lens throws a lot more light, which is a great thing because even if you remove the actual gobo thing here, this is actually very powerful. So this is 150 millimeters, going to throw a hell of a lot of light. And let me drop this to 1% again to give an idea here. I'm already overexposed right there. There's a little zebra in a circle. And this light is at 1%, and this is only 60 watts. And this is what's doing to the wall right there, the projection screen, the light at 1%. So if you crank it up to here, I mean, that already is completely blown off right there. It's not even... And this is one of the first 5 images that comes with the S60 Gobos. And as you can see, the thing is projecting straight to the wall right there, the projection screen. I'm trying to look for chromatic aberration, which you really have to look for, because when it is like this here, from here, I don't see anything. I have to get really close to that to see any chromatic aberration, which is a good thing. Now, one thing that I noticed, at least with this lens here, is that you have a slight amount of vignetting, on the corners here. So it's usually brighter on the center, but around the thing you see that's less exposure there. Then this one here, and this is a cool one that we'll see a lot of people using. And again, you don't have to keep the thing in focus. Always a little bit of defocusing also looks cool as well. Then we have this one here, which is also very useful. And again, I can always defocus a little bit here, so it looks like this. And this is the 5th and last pattern. I believe they're all very useful, much better than the ones that came with the Godox S30. Right now I'm using one of those gobos here with the blind kind of effect there. Right now this light is actually 15 feet away, at 45 degrees from that projector, so it's not exactly centered to the background, and I have that slightly out of focus. And also with the little color correction gels, the CTO, I think it is the 1/8 that I'm using, just to give that slight warmth of the daylight about, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that kind of deal. So I think it looks pretty good the way it is here, but you can actually have it white or have the projection thing facing straight, which everything is going to be in focus. But I would actually even throw this even more out of focus. I'll show you how it looks like. So here's the other possibility, and I'm gonna show you the thing in focus right now. And don't forget, this is not in front of the wall right there, the projection screen. The thing is at 45-degree angle, which distorts the image a little bit. And right now everything is in focus, and also take into account that this is a large sensor camera, so the focus is on me, so the background is gonna be slightly out of focus anyway, but I have that thing 100% in focus right now. And this is how it looks like without the gel. So the gel that I'm using here is a slight warm gel. I think it's a CTO 1/8 or something like that. So just to give a tiny little hint of warmth. Another accessory here is a tiny little softbox, the Godox SA-17. Inside the bag there's the softbox itself, plus the speed ring and the grid. And here's the softbox with the grid and without the grid. And here's the actual softbox assembled, and it's actually kind of cute. Never seen a softbox this tiny. And here's an example of taking this light outdoors in a real world situation. And I was actually surprised how well the softbox actually looked, just in case you don't have anything else, to actually shoot somebody as a little headshot. Not bad. To remove the speed ring off the softbox here is quite easy. I personally have a lot of experience because I'm from the time that the speed rings, they all have to be attached this way here. Now let's launch the Godox app here. Right now the app is open, and then I have all the lights. I also have the SZ150R, which is, they are all RGB lights. And I like to keep this separate here as a daylight only. So what you want to do here is to tap the little plus sign on the bottom of the app here, as you can see. And then I'm gonna call this as the Godox S60. Then save. It's created right here, and then you tap on it. And then on the top right, where you see add, click on add. It's gonna see immediately this light here. And then you just tap in here and click confirm. And the light is on here, online. When you see this little white light bulb here, it means the light is online. So I'm not sure if you should tap on the circle, but I usually like, because it confirms the light is actually present. And then you go to the scene control located on the bottom of the app to the right side. Hit scene control, And here is the 72%, going back to 0%, it will do that. So as you can see, you can actually do this a lot quicker than the light itself or the remote control. So I'm gonna keep it at about 5% here for exposure purposes. And as you can see, this light is locked as daylight only, so this has no effect here. But it's here in case they release a S60 bicolor, the app will just control the bicolor as it shows here. So this doesn't matter here. So again, when you actually control this light here, forget about the green magenta correction here. That doesn't apply because this is not an RGB light. So the only thing you can pretty much do with this app here is control the light intensity or to turn it off. Now to access these effects here, where it says S60B17A right at the circle here, right in the middle, top, you're gonna be pressing this button here, and now the effects. But the funny thing is because you have effects from 1 to 8, I believe, and then when you click the RGB cycle, which this is not an RGB light, so this is not gonna respond. And then when you click on a flash, it's showing effect number 7 here. And then you have to kind of find which effect belongs to what. The broken bulb, it's still effects number 7. So on the effects here, I find it much more useful for you to actually go to the ballast here and actually select the effects manually right here. But full range lights, RGB, CCT and everything, such as the Godox SZ150R, the SZ200BI, the LD150 series, this app does it all. You control the entire light, the RGB, whatever it is they want to do. Again, it's just this light here is just a daylight, and all you can do pretty much is to set its brightness levels and control some one of the 8 effects here. And that's pretty much it as far as the app is concerned. Now we're going to be taking a deep dive of the ballast here. The first thing you'll notice that they're no longer doing the press and hold to power this on. You just quickly press the power button and this whole thing is on. The other ballasts, like I think the VL200, you still have to press and hold for a few seconds, then it turns on. This one straight up. And here you have your brightness from 0% to 1% increments, very quickly all the way to 100%. So the faster that you spin this, the faster the light acts. So when you spin it this way here, it goes by approximately 10 increments. Or it can go very slowly or fast. So you probably have one of these remotes here. This is the RCA5. This is not going to work with this light. You will need the RCA6 remote control. This is also a separate purchase and you have to match the group and the channel number. Now to do that, you quickly press the menu button here and then you use the dial to rotate here. First thing you want to see is the actual group, and then you press the set, and then you can change from A, B, C, D, E, F, and then some numbers here until 9, I believe. There you go. I want to set it to A, press set to confirm. And then when you rotate this once again, you have the ID. I think the ID is more to avoid interference of some sort, because I think the ID set to off, if you will. It will still work with the remote control, but I still like to set it to 1. So here's the options: 1, off, all the way to 99. Press the set to confirm. Then rotate it once again is your Bluetooth ID. Rotate it once again, you have your DMX address, press set to change from 1 to 512. Rotate once again, you have your channel numbers, press set. You can go from 1 all the way to 32. I'm going to set it to 1 because the remote says Group A, Channel 1. And that's pretty much the menu. Exit here. The easiest way to access the effects here is by simply going to the ballast here and operate that manually. I'm sure that's not going to kill you because the app is not really controlling the effects right? Or you really need a remote control? No. So come here. So press the effects button here once, and then to change the effects, you dial it here. So right now it's set to off. So the effect number 1, which is the flash. Effect number 2 is this one here, also flash. Flash number 3 looks like this. There's a little pause there. And then the storm number 1. Storm number 2. Number 3. Then you have the TV, but it doesn't seem to change anything here. Oh, maybe. Oh, there you go. Okay. And then lastly is the broken bulb. And that's pretty much it. Next one will be set to off. Press set. Goes back to normal here. Now I got another cool toy for you guys here. This is the Godox SA-17, which can act as a similar thing that the other one does here. And this one is a Godox FV150, which is a 150 watt light. So right now this is not going to do a whole lot until you actually put the projection attachment device there, because the S60 already has a focusing lens before you even put this in here. So this accessory here is just in case you don't have the S60 or any other focusing light, which helps you a little bit. So notice that this is a 150 watt light and the S60 doesn't need a whole lot of power, but this one will, because it doesn't have the same lens that it has on the X60 built in there. So first you install this in here. Don't forget the latch here to lock it down. This can be a very fun and cool tool for your other lights, again, just in case you don't have any focusing light, but as you can see, you can do the same thing. However, you're gonna need a lot more light power with other lights that are not focusing enabled lights than the S60. So there's a big advantage of the light there, because with half of the power is actually probably 3 or 4 times brighter than this one here, thanks to the front lens that the S60 has, which provides a lot of light punch. And this is how it looks on the side here. And this accessory here, you're talking only $45 for this particular thing here. And to disconnect, just like any other Bowens mount, it's out of here. It's so easy to install and uninstall. This whole thing here is made of metal. There is absolutely no plastic whatsoever in this unit here. And when you actually attach this here, it's a lot easier than any other modifier or anything that I ever tried on the Bowens mount before. This thing is effortless. I'm close to the end of filming this review here, and this light still with the fan on, the temperature here, I can actually touch this light all day, even though it says here danger, high heat or high temperature. I'm actually touching the light here, and I can stay here for like a whole hour if I want to. So if you want to keep the fan on, I highly recommend, even though you can actually silence the fan, because the light can get pretty hot. And since this fan is, again, super quiet, leave it on, but again, you can turn it off. And that's the end of my review. I hope you found this video helpful. If you want to subscribe, you know what to do. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you see more contents like this. My channel usually reviews most lighting equipment here, but sometimes some audio gear. And thank you very much for your time and visiting my channel, and I'll see you next time.